Hello everyone, welcome to my Flosstube channel. This is Flosstube number 5 for me. It's August 7th, 2022, and I'm so glad you're here with me. I have some new starts, some WIPS, a couple, kind of WIPS, kind of rips, and a couple of new acquisitions that I want to show you. My August focus is going to be on Halloween. I've expressed before that Halloween has never been my favorite holiday. I know it's an absolute favorite to a lot of people, including a lot of stitchers. And I've come to realize that some Halloween things I like. I tend to like more whimsical and witch kind of things rather than skeletons and haunted houses, etc. So I actually am realizing that over the years I have done a number of Halloween things, and I've started some more. It's going to be a really hot day here again. Not hot as Iowa can sometimes get. In August we can typically go over 100 degrees and high humidity. So I think we're going to be mid to high 90s today. Got my walk out early. It was cloudy earlier this morning, so I got my walk in before the sun was fully beating down on me, and I'm kind of giving my hands a little bit of a rest today. I'm in the process of redoing a lot of things in my house, and one of the things I'm trying to do is get rid of a sofa that I've had for, 35 or 40 years, and that baby is solid because I've been trying to take it apart. The city will pick up large items if you make an appointment for it, but I can't get it to the curb. It's a queen size sofa bed and it's ghastly heavy. So I decided, well, I'll take out the bed mechanism, and at least that should make it light enough I can somehow wrangle it to the curb. The bed mechanism actually came out reasonably easy. Some of the screws and bolts were in there really, really tightly, and I don't have the strength I used to have when I was younger, so that was a battle. It took me 30 minutes to get one of the bolts out. Anyway, I got that separated from it, and then I thought, well, I'll just take the arms off, and then it will be. They used a lot of glue, and they had a love affair with the staple gun, and the staples are like this long, and about probably the size of a 10-penny nail, in terms of diameter. Oh my gosh. So I did get one back piece off. That took me most of the morning yesterday. And now I've just decided, you know what, I'm going to get out a saw and just take the whole thing apart. I'll put it in a dumpster. I have some other things that could go in a dumpster, and just call it good. So my hands are just a little bit sore today from having to grip the screwdriver and things so hard. So hopefully I won't drop any of the stitching to show you. So first of all, on to some new starts. Last time I did a video, I was waiting for the fabric to do this long dog sampler Dawn Chorus, and I gather it's from 2013. Just given the date on it, I didn't know it was that early, but it doesn't matter. I love this. My local needlework shop, which is Reflections Framing and Stitching in Omaha, Nebraska, had this sample up, and it was just beautiful. This mock-up really doesn't do it justice. It's really beautiful. So the fabric did arrive the day after my birthday, and I did start it the day after my birthday. And I have done one of the trees. Something tells me I'm going to have to fix a light here. Hang on. Sorry about that. Decided the lighting wasn't as good as I thought it was when I started. So this is my start on Dawn Chorus. And the colors somehow are much more vibrant than it shows in the mock-up on the pattern. But I guess I recognized that when I saw the sample in the shop, because I really love it. I don't know why I thought that this wouldn't take me long. It's a long dog sampler, so I don't know how in heaven's name I got that. Just dropped a needle. I'll find it later. It's going to take some time, but I really love it, so it's all right if it takes some time. The fabric that I ordered is a 32 count Lugana in antique white. I'm really pretty fond of light backgrounds, white backgrounds, particularly on Christmas things for some reason. I don't know. I'm the same way in quilting, which, you know, art directors at fabric companies keep saying, well, people don't like white backgrounds. I do. I do. So that one's coming along. I think I'll be switching it to a Q-snap. One thing, the pattern, this gold, this is a bird on top. And this gold for his legs and feet are, the symbol for that on the chart is not that different from the green around it. And I had made a copy of it because this is the overlap on the center. I made a copy of it so I could put it together, and in the process of copying it made it even less clear. So I went back and restitched that. Not restitched it, but I stitched the gold on top of the green, which is actually pretty good, I think, because it gives that extra dimensional quality to those legs and feet. So that's Dawn Chorus. And then I also started, August I'm focusing on Halloween, as I said. So I finally got a start on Flying Lesson from Silver Creek Samplers. It says Dawn to Dusk, Fly by Night. Aviation Institute, established in 1622. This one's really cute, and it's fun to stitch. I am using the called for DMC, and this is on a Zweigart 18 count Rustico Beta. And I have this much finished. I started it, the pattern says that the sample was stitched 1/1 on 18 count, and I started doing that. In fact, the green letters are in 1/1. But when I started doing the hat and the bat, I thought it looked terrible. I didn't like it. So I ripped all that out, hence my rips in progress. Instead of whips, I have rips. So I ripped that out and did it 2/2. I left the green 1/1 at 2/2. 2/1. I left the green at 1/1, but I'm doing everything else in 2/1, and I like it much better. So that was Flying Lessons from Silver Creek Samplers. Love that one. It's fun to do. Good chart, easy to read. And also for Halloween, I have a couple of needlepoint things here, and I did start on one of these. I think last year sometime I found this in my local needlepoint shop, which is Village Needleworks in Omaha, Nebraska. And again, it's, I like witches stuff, and I really like this whimsical bit. The start that I made is pretty small, but needlepoint takes me a while to figure out what stitches I want to do where, to come up with a stitch guide. So, but I decided this ruffle here, I wanted to be kind of a petticoat look. So I used, what did I use here? It is Fireworks, maybe? Let me see. Let me check. That doesn't seem quite right. Sparkle Rays, sorry. Is Sparkle Rays, and I just did a kind of a loose 3-wrap French knot. So not really a French knot, but a knot. And I'm really happy with that. And it's going to take some time to get across there, but that's okay. I think that'll be fun. Then This is Burnett and Bradley, by the way, I think. If I'm wrong about that, I will correct it down in the description. Maybe this tells me. Nope. Anyway, these are all 18 count, by the way. Yes. And so here's another in the series. I just adore these. And I'm kind of hoping she'll do another one this year, but I haven't seen it yet and it's getting kind of late, so maybe not. I probably missed some in earlier years. They're really have to scrounge around to find them these days. But I have all kinds of fun things. I've got fireworks in purple and 2 greens in sparkle rays and white sparkle ray and black very velvet. I've got a variegated here, watercolors in purples. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I will probably add more threads to it, but that's where we're at the moment. Then I recently, when I was in my shop, as always, I had to buy a canvas. And I love this. I'm going to have to correct myself because now I'm thinking maybe this is no, this is not Burnett and Bradley. I will put this down in the description what it is. My apologies, or put it down here. But I like this. Again, it's a witch. And I just like the whole concept of this crest kind of idea. And this was on 13 count, and I'm trying to do it mostly from my stash of threads. So I went into my stash and pulled out some things that I think are mostly left over from the Santa that I did. So I have some neon rays for the gold color, and I've got lots of Very Velvet, apparently. And then some Splendor. And I think mostly what I'm going to have to get is more of the background color. I'll do it in kind of a off-white cream color. So that's on target for August as well. Then another new acquisition is Halloween Quaker from Lila Studio. And I'm not sure, I don't think I'm going to do this whole piece. I think I may do pieces of it, smaller bits of it. It's a little darker than I prefer for Halloween things. I know it's perfect for most people, don't get me wrong. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous piece, but it's a little darker than I like. So I may change up a couple of things, like the motif that has skeletons in it. I would probably change up, maybe put it on a lighter fabric, which seems a little odd for Halloween, but that's me. But it is a wonderful chart. I really like it, just overall design-wise. Also for Halloween, I do have a fully finished object, although I didn't do it in the last week. This is, I will try to put up a picture of the entire thing here. This is a small wall quilt that I made from a Crabapple Hill embroidery pattern. This is a witch's boot. I seem to have something about witch's boots. And it was a lot of fun. There are a lot of Crabapple Hills if you're into it, just embroidery. If you're into embroidery, they do a whole series, many of them actually of theirs have designs where you draw them out, the outline, and then use crayons to color it or tint them, and then you heat set it. And I've made a number of their things, and one of them that is just a boatload of fun is, and I haven't gotten very far on it in the whole scheme of things, and I'm looking for, here we go. So this is for a quilt, and it's in, I think, 4 panels, and it's the Salem Witches Quilt Guild. It was a mystery quilt quilt. And so it has these ladies all the way across this long panel. I guess you can kind of see it at the bottom there. And they're all heading for the Quilt Guild meeting in Salem. And I have all of the outlining and the coloring done for this panel, but it's taking me longer to do the stitching. But the tinting with the crayon really adds a nice thing to it. And then of course it's not DMC, I think they're using Sullivan. I have to look, but it isn't DMC, but you could certainly use DMC. And it's just a lot of fun to stitch, just to sit down and stitch it. I don't know how well you can see the coloring that I've done for the other ladies. So that's a lot of fun. If you like embroidery, then check out Crabapple Hill. Love their stuff. I've done a lot of their stuff. All right, some WIPS that you've seen before that I can update you on. One of them is this Santa from Prairie Schooler, and this is Designer Series Santa Collection 1992 to 1995. Get the glare off of there. And if you saw my last video, you knew I was rethinking this because I put it on, I think this is probably oatmeal, 18 count Ada, or rustico, I think it's oatmeal. And there just wasn't enough contrast between the ecru that they use instead of white and this background. And even white didn't seem to have much of a contrast, because out here there are going to be snowflakes, and those are going to be, this is why I don't like a ring light, those just are not going to show up well enough. But I've decided that I wanted to finish what I had because I was far enough along. And I decided that I would do the trim on his coat in white, so at the end of his sleeves and his coat here. And then I would do French knots, actually not French knots because it's 3 wraps. So I would do a wrapped knot all along that, and then that dimension would help that to stand out better on that fabric. And I may very well just make this, not do all of the moon and stars and snowflake thing, just make it a tall, narrow piece. And then I bought, oh, and I did finish his coat up and put on his boots. So all I have to do now is, there's some back stitching for the vines on his coat, and then finish up the knots that I'm going to put in there. And then I may put a couple of stars over there or something. And I'm thinking that I maybe, for these golden berries, that you may or may not be able to see very well, I know I have a ton of gold beads floating around somewhere, so I may stitch some beads on top of that. I decided that I wanted to redo it, and I wanted to do it on a really dark blue to simulate the night sky for this, what I call the Cosmic Santa. So I ordered this Lugana, and it's, let me put my glasses on and read this. It is an 1/8 of a yard of 28 count Lugana. This is why I have higher magnification glasses for my stitching. It's called Goth. And it would be perfect for Halloween, for sure, which is probably why it was dyed this color anyway, and it's a beautiful piece. I think it may be a little too purple for what I want to do, and I'm not sure about the contrast with the red. So what I plan to do is just try some stitches in a couple different colors and see if it will work, or if I need something that's got a little less red purple in it. We'll see. Oh, I forgot, one of my fully finished objects was actually a project bag. I didn't have any Halloween project bags, so I did a project bag with doggos going out trick-or-treating, and then some purple spiderweb fabric on the back. And most of my bags, I guess all of my bags so far, my Halloween one I think was the 13th one I've made in the past month, and that, you know, that's probably appropriate for Halloween. I don't know. I think 13 is a lucky number myself, but. All right, and then I've still been working on Dreaming Miss Claus from Barbara Anna Designs. I love her Dreaming series. I also have Dreaming Klimt, and I just saw Dreaming Frida. I'm not ordinarily drawn to Frida things much, but that's really cool. It's a very cool one. So this is how far I've gotten, and since last you saw me, I've done her earring and done all of this with the hair around here. A little difficult to see, not as much contrast as the white, but she's fun to stitch. I'm having fun with that. I'm using the called for DMC, and this is a 28 count Lugana. The color is cobalt. I don't know who dyed it, but I got it at my local shop, my LNS Reflections. I always get it backwards. Framing and Stitching in Omaha. Actually, I think La Vista, Nebraska. Sorry. They wouldn't want to be called Omaha, but Omaha area. And then this is Phoenix. It's a Heaven and Earth design. It's a story keep. Let's see if I can pull it up on my iPad here. Sorry, I'm just kind of moving all over the place today, aren't I? And the artwork is by Stephanie Law, and the charting, of course, by Heaven and Earth Designs. And it's a woman rising with the phoenix, and it just, I just needed that right now in my life. And this is what I've done. I actually got started into the phoenix here, and somewhere, I don't know, I think I'm like 4% finished or something, and it's coming along. I'm doing this on a 25 count easy count Ada, and I'm using 2/2, but just a tent stitch. And I think that's going to work okay. I'm going to proceed as if it is going to be okay, and hope for the best. I have a lot of other Heaven and Earth and other full coverage things in my pocket, ready to stitch sometimes. I do have 2 others that I have started. One is the Grand Library, which I know a lot of you have been stitching as well. And the other one is a chart that I created from one of the James Webb Telescope images, Space Telescope images that I just love. And I've called it Galactic Landscape. And if you want the chart, it's free, just in honor of everybody at NASA and everyone who's contributed to these awesome photos that we've been seeing. I will put a link to it. It's on my website. There is a version for print. There's a PDF for print, and there's a PDF for Pattern Keeper. The Pattern Keeper pattern has a separate link for the cover page, because for some reason the cover page does not load into Pattern Keeper, and they're very kindly trying to help me figure out why that is so. They've got a copy of my PDF, and I haven't heard back from them yet, but I expect they're pretty busy folks. So if you're interested in that, just go to my website and you can download it. The chart seems to be working fine. It's just somehow the chart and the colors are working fine. Somehow it I don't know why it's not loading the cover page, but I put a link to a separate cover page if you decide that you want to download it for Pattern Keeper. I think that's pretty much all that I have for today. I haven't made, I guess, a lot of progress on the stitching. I did finish my newest quilt. It's a modern quilt called Pipe Dreams, and I will put a picture up here, maybe somewhere, of it as a piece top. It hasn't been quilted yet. That's another thing. My long arm, I have to ship back to the company to put in a new motor. Tried to talk them into sending me the motor so that I could put it in, and they were having none of it. So I can't drive there. It's just on the other side of the state for me, but I can't do a 10-hour drive and wait in between for them to fix it. So at least not right now. So anyway, I'm shipping that off, and I have a quilt already on the frame that I was in the middle of when the motor went haywire. So this quilt is then up behind it, and that quilt absolutely was a lot of fun to do. It's like putting the pieces together. The hardest part was figuring out what sizes I needed in order to be able to make it do that weaving, but just have straight seams so there were no set-in seams. And they're big pieces, so it goes together pretty quickly, and I had a lot of fun with it. And now that I've finished piecing it, I can start working on the pattern and double checking to make sure that I had my measurements correct, and so I'm having fun with that. Anyway, that is it for today. Thanks again for joining me. If you are a subscriber, thank you very much, and thank you for coming back. If you're new to my channel, thanks very much for stopping by, and I hope you will subscribe and like and comment, because that helps others to find my channel. Thank you all very much. Good to see you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye.